Here comes another important tip from the Personal Defense Network. I want to talk about the 5 fundamentals of home defense. When you start thinking about what you would do in the case of an imminent home invasion, if you know that someone's pounding on your door or someone just kicked the door in at the other side of your house, you heard a crash, somebody's yelling, you know that there is a threat just entering your home and you're not in their presence, or there's a threat about to enter your home. Here's what you need to do. First, evade. Try to get away. If someone kicks in your front door and you're the only one at home and you're down the hall and you can see the door getting kicked in and you know you can run right out the back door and get to the neighbor's house, get to your car, get to the garage, get on the phone and get away, just simply get away. Evade is the first step of the fundamentals of home defense. If you can get out of the way of danger, if you can avoid the conflict, you're not going to worry about what they're going to do to your house, what they're going to do to your belongings, what they're going to say about you later because you ran away. Just get away. Avoid the conflict. The second fundamental is barricade. If you can't get away, or if you can only get away temporarily, let's say that you see the person pounding on your door, you see a weapon in their hand, you can't run out the back door because you've got kids upstairs, you can run upstairs and then barricade with the rest of your family. Of course, if you're alone in the house and there isn't a way that you can safely exit, you can also barricade. So barricade doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, throw 3 deadbolts and move a couch in front of the door and put the battering ram block down in front and make sure that you're safe forever. It simply means put something between you and the bad guy. Sometimes that something can just be space or darkness. But of course, if you can, you want to go ahead and lock and secure your doors. You want to think ahead of time about where in your home you are most likely to barricade. You might want to barricade in with your kids. If there's a kid's room up on the same floor or the same part of the house that you are in, you might want to think that instead of getting the kids and bringing them to you or relying on them getting to your room, that your barricade spot for your family is actually going to be inside of the kid's room. So think about where you're going to barricade, and then you might want to think about reinforcing the door, putting in a deadbolt, or doing some other things. You're going to make it harder for the bad guy that's already in your home to get to the area that you've decided to wait and call the police. The next thing you're going to do is arm yourself. Now, if everything works out perfectly, you're going to see the bad guy coming, hear the bad guy pounding on the door, or have the ability to get away from them and not immediately be in their presence when they do break into the home in that home invasion. At this point, you try to get away and you go to your hiding place. In your hiding place, that's where you want to make sure that you've staged a defensive firearm. If you have a firearm in your home that's ready for defense, it shouldn't be somewhere other than where you're going to barricade. Now, if you have multiple firearms, of course, you might have armed yourself prior to reaching your barricade area. And if you carry a firearm inside of your home, then you've already taken care of this step because you're always armed. After evading or finding out that you can evade, when you barricade and you get to that spot, you want to make sure that you can arm yourself with whatever is handy. If you don't have a firearm staged in a quick access safe in that place, maybe it's going to be a chair, maybe it's going to be a heavy book, maybe it's going to be a kitchen knife, maybe it's going to be a broomstick. Get something, some kind of tool in that vicinity, in that area, for you to arm yourself. The next step, the fourth step, is communication or contact. So we've tried to evade, we've barricaded ourselves, we've armed ourselves, now we're going to make contact. The first thing we need to think about when we talk about making contact is making contact with the authorities, calling 911, making that emergency phone call. One thing I suggest to people who do have an actual barricade area, if they're staging that quick access safe, if they're staging those other tools, maybe some medical equipment in that area, one thing you can do to stage there is an old cell phone. If you take any old cell phone that still has a charger, whether it has a contract or not, you can still make emergency calls on it. Go ahead and plug it in and leave it in your barricade area. So you've got that phone there, you can make contact with the police, let them know what's going on. The other aspect of contact and communications has to do with the bad guy that's in your home. And here's what I say about making contact with him. If the bad guy knows where you are, if you absolutely believe that the bad guy knows you're in that room, you're behind that door because he's pounding on it, breaking in, whatever it is that's happening, and you've got that firearm in your hand, you might want to go ahead and give him one last chance to make the better decision and leave. Don't put him in a position where he has to be shot. Let him know you've got a firearm, you're prepared to defend yourself, you're prepared to defend your family. That's the kind of communication you want to make to that person. If, on the other hand, that person doesn't know where you are, if they're running around the house screaming incoherently and they haven't found you yet, or maybe it's someone who thought the home was empty and they're downstairs trying to steal your stereo and you're upstairs waiting for the police behind a barricade with a firearm in your hand, don't call out. There's no need to let that person know where you are and increase the likelihood of them panicking if they are the burglar and deciding now they have to attack you, or finding you if they're the person that's intent on hurting you anyway. The last step, the fifth step of fundamental home defense, is to respond as appropriate. Of course, if that bad guy does find you, if the bad guy comes around the corner, if the bad guy comes through the door and you have the firearm or you have the chair or you have the broomstick, you're going to need to actively defend yourself. This is the actual conflict and the fight. This is what we usually train for, but before you just think about training for shooting a target or shooting a bad guy across your bedroom, you need to have a complete plan. The 5 fundamentals of home defense will help you with that plan. First step, evade. Then barricade, arm yourself, make contact with the police and the bad guy as appropriate, and then of course respond as appropriate in the worst case scenario. These fundamentals will help you when you think about preparing for your home defense situation. Be sure to check out the Personal Defense Network for more important tips just like that one.